Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to share with you my latest pickup, the latest addition to my arcade, but it's going to be something just a little bit different. No, we're not going to be talking about another one-up. We're not even going to be talking about something that I built myself. We're going to be talking about the thing that inspired the arcade one-up, the thing that inspired this whole home arcade hobby, and that thing, that's right behind me. Okay, so I've been out of the full-size arcade hobby for quite a while now, but when I saw Surf Planet, I had to jump back in. Now you're probably saying, Surf Planet? I've never heard of it. Well, I hadn't either. But now that I've had a chance to play the game, well, I know why. It's not a very fun game. It's extremely limited when it comes to the controls. All you have is a start button and a joystick that just goes in two directions. It just goes side to side. But it really wasn't the game in the cabinet, it was the cabinet itself. See, when I had full-size arcades, I really only had two, but the one that was my pride and joy was the Street Fighter II that I had, and it was based on a Dynamo HS1 cabinet, and I absolutely love that thing. It was just a blast to work on, to play with. The board was in great shape, and I completely restored it, new artwork, everything. Kept it for a while, even set the board aside and put a Pandora's box inside with a JAMA connection and used that as a multicade. But, you know, life changes, and this space wasn't always available like it is now. But once some things changed in my life, it did open back up and it got me back into the hobby, and that's about the same time that Arcade 1-Up was really, you know, making some good stuff. So that's why I went with that. Obviously, the selection of games is really great, and they're small, and they're light, and they're a hell of a lot easier to carry. So because it is the cabinet that I'm more interested in, let's take a look at that, and I'm going to go over some of the features and some of the reasons why I think this is one of the best universal cabinets ever made for the arcade. So let's start with my favorite feature of this cabinet, and it's actually the way that you access the back of the control panel and the PCB, and that's done by reaching through the coin door up through the PCB support panel and undoing a latch that holds the entire thing together. Once you undo that latch, you can lower your control panel, which will give you a clear view of that PCB support panel and the two additional latches that you're going to have to release in order to pull the entire assembly forward. So it goes without saying that this design makes it incredibly easy to access the PCB and all the wiring, most of which on this cabinet isn't even being used because we're limited to that single start button and joystick potentiometer. And as you would imagine, the lighting for the marquee is extremely high-tech, consisting of two 60-watt light bulbs. And the teardown continues. This is fairly universal between all arcade cabinets. You have your tempered glass, you have the bezel artwork, you have the bezel support panel underneath that, and then you have the actual monitor itself. One thing I noticed while transporting this cabinet is that the monitor was moving in the mounts. That's because there are actually no nuts on the studs that secure the monitor mount to the rest of the cabinet. It's kind of crazy, especially given the weight and the expense of these monitors. And another great thing about these Dynamo control panels is that no matter what your overlay looks like, they're usually pre-punched for the 6-button layout. This control panel even includes studs for hap joysticks. But remember to always be on the lookout for hackery. While most of the penetrations in this control panel consist of a bolt with a nut behind it, there are a few screws that were used, and I have no idea why. And as we continue down the front of the cabinet, opening up the coin door is going to reveal a few controls, namely a credit button, a test button, and then a volume control knob. Well, that monitor obviously needs a lot of help, but I thought that while I had the marquee off, I would go ahead and swap out the light bulbs just to kind of get an idea of how that looks before we power down the machine and head around to the back to take a quick peek at the back of the monitor and the power supply, which look to be in really good shape. It's something else I'm going to have to fix. So anyway, there you go. I got the cabinet for the cabinet, not necessarily the game inside. No offense to the Surf Planet fans out there. I'm sure there's a few of you out there, but that's not my jam. We're going to go with a different game in this cabinet. What is it going to be? You know, I'm not exactly sure. I know a lot of you are thinking AVP, but I don't think so. Not with this cabinet. Maybe like a 3-player Big Blue. That would be awesome. I'm not sure that Arcade 1-Up is ever going to do an Alien vs. Predator cabinet. And if they did, I know they will not do a 3-player version. Of course, of course, now that I say it, they're gonna do it. So I think I'm gonna go with something else. What game? I'm not exactly sure, but these Dynamo cabinets were pretty popular, and I think that, well, the chances are pretty high that if you look up the title of your favorite arcade game on Google, you're going to see at least 1 or 2 pictures of it in one of these Dynamo cabinets. So we can maintain that arcade accuracy by going with a slew of different games. I kind of think that maybe a game like Raiden, which is one of my all-time favorites, would really be a good ideal match for this, but I'm not exactly sure. The monitor would be different. That's a vertical shooter, not a horizontal. Obviously, we got to do some work on this monitor. I don't know if it's going to need a cap kit. I don't know if I can just make some adjustments. I'm going to have to do a little more research and see. I'd like to maintain this. I want to retain the CRT if I can. If not, I'm not opposed to going with an LCD replacement. Don't hate me. I know some of you are, but it is what it is. So yeah, so we're going to do some restoration. We're going to get rid of this PCB, go with a new game. Obviously the artwork's got to go. T-molding, we're going to probably maybe get rid of the light bulbs on the inside, do a little bit of LED. I want to upgrade it slightly, but I don't want to take away too much because I think there is something to be said about a real arcade. It is the thing that inspired Arcade 1-Up. It is the thing that inspired this whole miniaturized, or this smaller, this 3/4 scale hobby that we have that I enjoy. And there's nothing wrong with having both. I think the two can live in harmony. They could live side by side. I'm not going to have a full-blown crazy collection of the big guys because it's just not feasible for me. I really don't have, I have some space, but I don't have that much space. And I don't think my back would be real happy with me if I keep bringing these bad boys home. So if you want to see this project and some of the other things I got going on, including the Rampage 3-player Arcade 1-Up project, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell and all that good stuff. Hey, thanks for stopping by, checking out the channel. Y'all have a blessed day, and I will see you next time.